Right, I'm going to be doing a wrap-up video here in a minute on day one, or the evening session of Bob and Sandy's Art of Goal Creation. So I'm going to get started in just a minute. I apologise for the very bad lighting. I have one hotel lamp. I didn't bring my LED lights with me, so it's very yellow, but the content is what's important. So, I apologise for that. Got a lot to go through with you. Got a lot to touch on here. The first session was extraordinary. That would be the only way that I could describe it. There's so much that was covered. I feel somewhat that if I had to leave now, I will have already had breakthroughs. So I'm going to try and touch on just a few, I guess, key points or key ideas that certainly resonated for me or that I made notes of, and that'll give you the opportunity to have a think about it, how it relates to you in your own life or environment or wherever you're at right now. So that's the purpose of this wrap-up video of session one of Art of Goal Creation. And all right, I think we're back. Great, got a few people coming on there now, which is excellent. So like I say, I'm here in Los Angeles. We've got Art of Goal Creation, Bob Proctor and Sandy Gallagher. This is a completely new program that he has created, and the first session was extraordinary. The video that they played right at the beginning, honestly, I had goosebumps, I had tears in my eyes. It stirred something deep within me, and I just am so enthused about what new awareness is going to reveal itself to and through me over the next few days. So I guess I'm going to start with might start with this quote from Albert Einstein that was sort of brought up right at the beginning of the session, and he says here, "When I examined myself and my methods of thought, I came to the conclusion that the gift of fantasy has meant more to me than my talent for absorbing positive knowledge." And Bob and Sandy spent quite a lot of time talking about this quote to start off with, and just how important fantasy is for a lot of people. And Sandy touched on this. She's very left-brained. She was a lawyer. You know, the last time that she spent any time fantasizing was in kindergarten. And you'll probably find most people are like this, or a lot of people that you know, they don't spend any time in fantasy. They shut it down, think it's ridiculous, or people around them think that they're crazy. And so we've shut down one of our most beautiful and marvelous mental faculties in our imagination. What we have to do is we have to really tap into that, and we have to build the fantasy and really fuse with that feeling of it. And when we're visualizing, that's what we're doing. We're using our imagination to build the picture, and we're entering into the feeling of the wish already fulfilled. And as we do that, we change our entire vibration. And as we change our entire vibration, we actually put ourselves in harmony with new and different opportunities, ideas, resources, and what we want begins to actually come towards us. I always say the fact that you're here, you know, the fact that you're on the live stream, the fact that you're part of my community, that you've tuned in to watch any part of what I'm sharing with you right now, means that it's in harmony with you. There is something within you that this message is in harmony with. There is resonance within you. Otherwise, you and I would have never connected. You would have never come across my page. You would not be in my community. So there is something in this material, there is something in this message that resonates with a part of who you really are. So lean into that. See where that'll take you. One of the things that we then started to look at is why goal creation is actually an art. And I want to read just the first paragraph of this. The art of goal creation is truly a creative process. The definition of creation is the manipulation of energy. You're causing one type of energy to move into another type of energy. This energy may never have moved into that direction before until you came along. Have you ever thought about goals up until this point in time in your life as energy, and energy moving from one form into another form, and that you're the one that's doing that? That's exactly what you're doing. When you said about the physical manifestation of what you want, that's exactly what you're doing. You're moving energy that was in one form into another form. And that's a creative process. So the setting and accomplishing goals is a creative process. And it's really understanding that law of perpetual transmutation of energy that we're going to get so much more deeper into over the course of the next few days, but really understanding how to manipulate this energy, how to work in harmony with it, how to properly use your mind to be able to do it, to really bring about those circumstances and that physical manifestation of what you really want. You know, Bob said, you've got to go where you've never been before. And when he left us after the session tonight, he said, are you prepared? Are you willing to go where you've never been before? You know, and I hope that you are, because that's when the magic happens. What idea do you have that you want to bring into form? I want to ask you that question right now. What idea, what desire in your heart, what is it that you would love to make happen in your life? That's what I want you to really start to think about and start to pay attention to. Sandy said this quote, and you know, I've heard this so many times, and if you come to any of my events or seminars, you will have heard me talk about this as well. Earl Nightingale said, most people tiptoe through life waiting to make it safely to death. And when they get there and when their heart stops beating, it'll be a mere formality. It's not what we've been put here to do. You know, like, who wants to do that? Who wants to tiptoe through life waiting to make it safely to death? And when their heart stops beating, it'll be a mere formality. But you know what? That's what a lot of people do. They think it's safer to play it safe. It's absolutely not. That is your fastest way to death. Really, when you think about the creative process, we're either in a state of creation or disintegration. You want to get out there and you want to give it everything you've got. You want to take risks. You want to put yourself out there. That's the only way you will really be able to know what you're truly capable of. We then started to speak about asking, and you've got to be willing to ask for what you want, and you've also got to be willing to ask for help. Now, a lot of people don't ask for what they want, and they don't ask for help because they usually have a very low self-esteem. They don't ask for what they want because they think it would be impossible for them to get it, or they're not worthy of it. And they don't ask for help because they think, you couldn't possibly help me. I'm different, Karen. Now, you've got to get out of your own way, and you've got to be willing to ask for help. And there is greatness all around you. You've got to use it. And there's this beautiful article that we studied, and I'll just read a little paragraph from it here. Bob Richards, he said, great people will share. And that is what made George Allen one of the greatest football coaches in the world. Great people will tell you their secrets. Look for them, call them on the phone, and buy their books. Go where they are, get around them, talk to them. It is easy to be great when you are around great people. Isn't that beautiful? I've said this before, but I'll say it again. It's pretty tough to win if you're not going to surround yourself with winners. If you're not around people who are doing great things, it's going to be pretty hard for you to do great things yourself, because so much of the way we're programmed is through our environment. This is what I love about my community so much. This is what I love about my client group. This is what I love about you, is that the fact that you're here, you're a part of something great, and together we can support each other, hold each other accountable, and really show each other how to make great happen. But you've got to surround yourself with winners, and you've got to be willing to ask for what you want and ask for the help to get it. Then we spoke a little bit about attitude and, you know, how significant your time here is. And I want to read a couple of points from that I underlined. Rather than treating the time here as simply a seminar, form the attitude that this is a special moment in your life. You know, really develop that attitude, the thoughts, the feelings and actions, that being here, participating in this live stream, It is a special moment in your life. It will be a turning point in your life. It will be the catalyst for you to really make great happen in a bigger and better way than you ever have before. It is a well-known fact that a high percentage of the population in every part of the world miss out on much of the goodness that could be theirs. You know, most people are playing well below what they're capable of. They're leaving it all on the table. You can play a much bigger game, become far more effective, achieve a lot more in a lot less time, if you're willing to ask for it, demand it of yourself, and then get into harmony with it, which means changing that mental programming and really, as Bob said, and I wrote this down, life-changing. You know, that word is thrown around so often. Oh, this is going to be life-changing. This is going to be, but what we're really saying is it's going to be your life changing. And that is an action. That is an activity. It's something we actually have to do to change our life. We are life-changing. We're in the process of doing that. And the second that you get involved in the study of this material and you really get serious into the repetition of it and you hold yourself accountable and you have great people around you, your life does change. Not by accident, but because you are working in harmony with the greater laws that are around us that you were just never aware as to how to be effective at working in harmony with up until this point in time. And then here he says, make a decision now that in 6 months, a year, 5 years from now, when you look back at the time you spent at this program, that this too will be a significant and pinnacle moment in your life up until this point. And, you know, as I was doing that, I took some notes on some pinnacle and pivotal moments in my life. That I look back on and I see them as critical turning points in helping me become the person that I am today. And I have no doubt, I've even written here next to that this seminar is a defining moment for me. This program, this training, being back here, you know, everyone keeps asking me why I keep traveling back for this, because there's just no end to my growth. There's no end to how much I can learn and understand this. Bob will be 85 this year, and he's been studying this since he was 26. And if he's still studying it and just getting started at 85, well, then I can wake up every day and do this too. I just cannot imagine that there are people out there right now, perhaps some of you that are watching this, that are not involved in the study of this. It just blows my mind. And it makes me want to do a better job at communicating the benefits to you, to motivate you into action, not for me, but for yourself. It just blows my mind that there are people right now in my community that I'm meant to be serving and serving well that are not involved in the study of this. So if you're not involved in the live stream yet, then get yourself onto this live stream and participate in this as the start point for far bigger and greater personal development, personal growth, but goals that you will accomplish over the next period of time. I just cannot imagine. And I would hate to think that a person could go their whole life and never form the habit of studying this. It would be like having a blindfold on for the rest of your life. When you get into this, it's like you take the blindfold off and you dial into the GPS what you want and you create it. It's just so easy to win when you know how. All right, I'm going to touch on a couple of other points. We also spoke about really acting on suggestions. When you're in this vibration and when you're in this environment, you are going to receive ideas, intuitive feelings, and guidance. And it's important that you act on that. If you feel inspired to do something or take some course of action or make some sort of decision, then really lean into that and go with it. Bob always talks about what is intuition or guidance and what is the paradigm. Intuition and guidance is always there first. And then the paradigm usually comes second to have you question or doubt or worry that that's the right course of action to take. So if you are receiving suggestions or you have had some sort of guidance or a desire to do something or make a particular decision, that is your higher side guiding you down the pathway to incredible success. So you really want to lean into that and take that kind of action, inspired action, because it is really from your higher self and you've been shown the way. You know, I love, he spoke about another thing to do with perception. And, you know, some of you will have studied some of these programs before, or these live streams. And Bob was talking about perception. When you hear something in a different way. So let's say you're learning about goals, you're learning about something to do with your mind, and you hear that bit of information, but then the next bit of information that comes immediately next is different. And it's when those two ideas come together, it hits you like a bolt of lightning, and you have this different perception, not only of what you've heard, but of yourself, because you heard two different ideas come at you at the one time that completely expands your level of awareness and makes the penny drop in a way it never has before. And that's why I keep studying this and keep investing time and money in myself. And you're going to find that as well. If you've been here a while with me, if you've been studying in my community, if this is the first time, you know, it doesn't matter how many times you hear pieces of information, because they're always going to be slightly different, and Bob's going to be in a slightly different vibration when he delivers it, with a different level of awareness, with a different piece of information following it. It's going to be completely new and different to you, and it will resonate in a different way and create a breakthrough opportunity for you. Of course, the paradigm is going to try and talk you out of doing what's necessary, so you've got to be very aware of that. We're going to get into that later on in the program. That's actually one of the 6 phases, the critical phases that you must go through, and if you miss any step in this goal creation process, it will not happen. So there's 6 key phases or steps in this process, and if you miss any of them, your goal's not going to manifest. So, and obviously understanding the paradigm is certainly one of those phases that we're going to look at. All right, I'm going to wrap up with a couple of little pieces that and maybe give you a little bit of homework to think about tonight. Certainly the homework that I'm going to be doing. So for those of you that already have access to the live stream, you would have heard Bob talk about the homework for tonight is to study from page, oh geez, where am I going here? Page 13 to page 18. So that's a little bit of homework to read through those phases. The piece of literature, the piece of text that was written by, on page 6, written by Diane Armitage. And she says a couple of really beautiful things in there. She says, as you go through life, you don't just pick up things you like doing by chance. You discover what you're good at because you were meant to discover it. Just as you were meant to figure out what your fingers do and how your elbows work, your unique gifts are hardwired into your system just as surely as your lungs are given their blueprint to breathe. Bob, people really have to start here. They have to dig down and think about what their purpose is, what they are innately good at, stuff that has been percolating in their body since they were in kindergarten, but may not have been recognized because it came so easily to them. I really want you to think about that. I just think that's just 2 beautiful paragraphs. I'm happy to read it again if you'd like me to. But I think the important parts of it is you discover what you're good at because you were meant to discover it. So, you know, sometimes when you discover what you're really good at, the paradigm immediately creeps in and it says, well, you can't have that, or you can't make money into that. But you were meant to discover it. You were meant to, it's hardwired into your system. It's there. You know, you don't have to get your goals. You don't have to figure out your purpose. It's not outside of you. It's within you. You've got to discover it. You've got to stop and really think and start to think about your answer to some of these questions. What is it that I'm really good at? What is it that I really love to do? What is it that I get the most joy and fulfillment out of? You know, what are you innately good at? What is the stuff that has been percolating in your body since you were in kindergarten? You may not have recognized it because it came so easily to you. And that is what I want you to take away from this recap, is to think about that and try to answer those questions and spend time thinking about them overnight, and take a sheet of paper and a pen and make some notes on this and really think about them. Think about those questions, and you will find within that, highly likely there is a purpose somewhere, but there may also very well be a goal, something that you really want, or an idea that you would like to explore, over the course of the next few days. One last thing to leave you with, which I think certainly made me have a little grin on my face. She looks at, can you just imagine how absolutely annoyed our angels must get with us sometimes? ? They've poked, prodded, and nudged us to the path. They've weeded it, paved it, and even made it kind of springy so that it's easy to walk on. And instead, we veer off into the wet weeds again, slapping at the brambles and the bugs, wondering if we're ever going to find our purpose in life. Like, how often does that happen? You know when you're on the right path. It's effortless, it's easy. It doesn't mean it's not going to take some persistence and that you're not going to have to build a new model that makes the old model obsolete, but you inherently know in your heart. And we doubt ourselves and we worry and we question. You know, and if you could imagine the angels guiding you along that path, they're saying, no, that's not the one to go down. You're on the right path all along. I've made it so easy for you. All the signs are there. Follow your intuition rather than the paradigm trying to talk you out of it. So, look, there's so many pieces to this. I could talk about this forever, but this is just a recap video of session 1. So you can stop and think about some of the concepts that we've spoken about tonight and over the first session. If you haven't got your live stream access, then do it now. Just do it. No questions, no excuses. You'll thank me later. You'll very much thank me later. And if you are already in the live stream, you know, review this video, do your homework, take the time to study those, answer those questions, and I'll see you for session 2, day 2, tomorrow. What do you reckon? That's a wrap. Beautiful. Tracy Anderson, great that you've just joined the live stream. Excellent. And we've got some people catching up on the replays, which is really good. Zoe Thomas, if you're still watching, you got to get into this, honey. You're going to love it. It's so perfect for you. Anders Hansen, my friend, is going to be on stage over the next few days at some point. So really looking forward to seeing your next illusion, whatever you're going to work with us. Look, Bob actually shared something that Anders spoke about. He said, you know, when he's working with an illusion, Anders really, you know, what he does is take that impossible goal and make it possible. And he says, well, you know, how do you do that? And he goes, well, you go to the end and you work backwards. You go to the most impossible thing and then you work backwards, and you use the power of your mind and you work backwards you figure out how to do it. And that's exactly what you've got to do here. Most people are setting goals far beyond what they're truly capable of achieving. So anyway, really looking forward to seeing you. Anders and I mastermind every week as well, so he's my buddy. But looking forward to seeing you do another session on stage. If anyone else got any questions, happy to take a couple of questions. Otherwise, I will see you all tomorrow. Jess Bell, great. My goodness, you're all awesome. I love working with you. Thank you for being a part of my community. I'm honored to be able to serve you and to bring this information to you and to connect you with it and to show you how to be more effective at using it on a day-to-day basis. And as I grow, you grow. So let's make a commitment to each other that we'll never stop investing in our mindset growth. We'll never stop investing in ourselves. We are our greatest asset to the world, to our family, and to the people around us. And the more we have, the more awareness we have, the more we can do for other people. So with that in mind, I'm going to go and get my beauty sleep for the morning. And I'll see you all tomorrow for day 2. Bye, everyone.